So recently in my Discord, a viewer said this: the Kugath campaign is unplayable with his disgusting start. So I naturally thought to myself, well, how hard can it really be? I've not really tried the campaign properly in Immortal Empires, so I'm going to give it a go and see if we can find out if it really is a disgusting start, which it does sound actually quite appropriate for Nurgle. So we're doing an Immortal Empires campaign, Nurgle of course, and we're going to do this on very hard, which is my usual preferred difficulty, and we're going to see how hard it really is. And that really all begins with the question of the start position. Nurgle starts here on the Dragon Isles, which is a bit of a curious start position given who he is, and I actually managed to find some interview footage with one of the devs about why he starts here, so check it out, it's interesting. So Gary, you're the one that decided Kugath's start position. How did you reach that decision?
Yeah, well, they came to me, they said, Gary, look, we've got this guy Kugath. He likes to spread plague and disease everywhere. He's a boy of Nurgle. We need you to decide where he's going to start on the campaign map. I said, all right, Steve, don't worry. Leave it with me. Gary's got it. So I thought long and hard, where's the best place you're going to want to be if you want to spread disease? And then it came to me, as if sent by Jesus, you put him in the middle of the ocean on an island surrounded by absolutely nobody. That's the best place you're going to want to be if you want to spread disease, right? And if he's going to try and get off that island, we're going to put some OP Lord there just to make sure he can't get off. Just to make sure he really sticks true to the playstyle.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just quality game design, right? It's just genius, really.
So Kugath starts out here on the Dragon Isles on his lonesome. His starting army is nothing to write home about, I guess. He's got some good units in the Plague Bearers, the Toads, the Drones, but damage dealing is often the problem for the Nurgle army, so we'll see how we go. We've got some Lizardmen to deal with first of all, who are definitely one of the tougher starting enemies to have to face. You could get Skaven or Empire, who are really easy to deal with early on, but Lizardmen a little bit tougher. So far Nurgle's drawn the short straw in his start position and his starting enemy, let's say. So naturally, our initial goal is to take the first province, which isn't too much of a problem despite facing Lizardmen. So we've got our first province down. I've got a pretty big army now as well, which does give us a nice 4 settlements. But of course, that son of a bitch Hellman Ghorst lives over here, and he's expanded like a mother, and he's got 4 armies. So this is problem number 3 for Kugath. You've got to get off your islands onto the mainland, but you've got to get through Hellman Ghorst, one of the most OP annoying lords to fight. What's more, Greasus also decides to declare war on me on this run, even though Hellman Ghorst is between me and him, and the only reason he doesn't like me is aversion. So I guess that's problem number 4 for Kugath's campaign. But regardless of all this, I started to push out, trying to take some of Hellman Ghorst's settlements. I beat up 1 or 2 of his armies. This one I've nearly got done with here, and I'm going to try and take this settlement, Flayed Rock, and then push this way across, so I can try to wipe him out in one swoop, rather than being stuck between 2 of his provinces. But as we can see, there's a lot of armies coming my way. Hellman Ghorst himself is coming. There's a Greasus army coming. I do manage to take Flayed Rock and get rid of the army there, but in doing so, these ogres come along and take this settlement that I've just taken. So we're taking steps backwards and forwards at this point. I decide to investigate with a hero to see if I can find where that enemy ogre army has gone. Coming down to this settlement, no sign of it down here, but we do notice Hellman Ghorst is over here, so that's that full army we've got to watch out for. We can see the ogre army in the north there. It's force marched itself back into its own territory, so I'm just going to move up and make an attempt to take that settlement back. And problem number 5 with this campaign is the corruption. Because you're facing Hellman Ghorst, that vampiric corruption is everywhere very, very quickly, and you've got to pretty much in-camp march everywhere. But we're back to making some progress, so that's something. Last thing I need to do over here, though, is get rid of Hellman Ghorst, who seems to be by Pixbarter. Not sure if he's trying to take it or not, if he's besieging it, but we need to get rid of that army, otherwise he's going to take these 2 settlements and we'll never get anywhere. On to the next turn, though, and some more ogres, me lord, have arrived near Flayed Rock, so I'm going to have to go and deal with them before we go anywhere else. Otherwise, they're going to reverse our progress again, so we'll go and deal with them. It's a smaller army, so not a big deal. We just got to get rid of Hellman Ghorst still, who's moved into our lands a little bit now. He's a little bit beaten up, so this is the opportunity. We got that goddamn corruption to deal with, though, wearing us down. And on the next turn, I decide to head to my settlement just to replenish for a turn before attacking him. But Hellman very kindly just comes and sits right next to my settlement, making it beautifully easy to get after him and take him down. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring over this random lord I brought up here as well, just to bring a little extra power. Of course, he's going to do a runner, the little bitch, but we're going to get after him. And when we do get a hold of him, we can get a Pyrrhic victory without losing any units. So I'm going to take that. Nurgle's army seems to be better in auto-resolve than it is in actual battle. And I think that's problem number 6 for Nurgle's army, is it's not fantastic in battle, especially early campaign when you don't have some of your stronger armor-piercing, more damage-dealing units. It's just very difficult to win what would probably be easy to win with any other faction kind of battles. But we've got some progress now. We've taken care of all the armies on the left. Now we can start pushing this way to finish Hellman off, hopefully. So I begin my journey east towards Hellman's final provinces, still dealing with the corruption though. So I'm going to send my hero in to see what we're running into, and I want to go after the Haunted Forest as it's his first settlement. It'll have all his best buildings, which if we can take it off him, it's going to weaken him. But alas, fucking ogres again. There's another big ogre army coming down just as I'm about to go and start getting this scheisse done. Here he comes. So I've got the choice now. Do I just push onto here and just get rid of Hellman, even though I'll probably lose all the settlements I've just taken? Or do I come back and fight off the ogres? Well, I do decide to go back and go after the ogres, but not before they attack Flayed Rock, which is a battle I'm definitely going to lose, but I try to fight it just to hurt them as much as possible. However, another lucky break as they only decide to sack it rather than take it or to raise it, so no progress lost there, which is nice, and they end up sat right in front of me, so now I can get rid of them. It's going to be a close victory. I'm going to lose a few units, but I'm going to take the auto-resolve because I'm not honestly sure I can win that against all those ogres. I don't know, maybe I can outlast them, their leadership's quite low, but auto-resolve still seemed like the better bet in that case. Need to replenish now. We've taken a bit of a pounding. We're going to get some new units. We've got some better units here. Actually, that's a complete lie. It's just Marauders and Forsaken. So a lack of any decent low-tier infantry makes the Nurgle army pretty difficult to use, I think. I also came to notice that for some reason Nurgle can't build garrison buildings to make the garrisons bigger, which would save me losing all these little settlements here and there. For some reason, Kugath's not allowed to build them, even though all the other monogods can, so that's another thing making this campaign much harder than it needs to be. But finally, we can now push on. We've taken care of a big ogre army, which probably means there won't be another one for at least a while. And heading into Hellman's territory, I noticed an abandoned settlement, so I decided to go after that and just capture that because I can't come down to the Haunted Forest. There's two massive armies there right now. So I'm just going to go and capture that settlement. I'm a bit worried those two armies might push into the territory I've just taken, and I'm going to take more steps back, but not a lot I can do. I can't take them both on. So I'm just going to wait here, see what happens, see where they go. And of course, they both make plays to go towards a couple of my settlements, two separate ones, so I've got to come back and try to deal with this now, but they are separated. One has crossed the river, so he's not going to be able to get over here anytime soon. So that to me looks like an opportunity to get rid of this northernmost army, which may try and take one of my settlements there, but if I can take them out, I should be able to reclaim them quick enough. The more southern army does indeed go ahead and take one of my settlements. Alright, not a huge deal. That's fine. It's out the way for now. The other army, though, decides to run back on itself, runs past me, force marches into one of the settlements, leaving the Haunted Forest open, so I decide to make my play for the Haunted Forest. If this other army comes down into the rest of my province there, whatever. I'm going to try and build a little army here to defend in case it comes north, but I think if I can get rid of the Haunted Forest, it is going to severely weaken the faction, take away a lot of their income, take away their recruitment buildings, so we're going for it. The time is indeed now on the next turn, so we go after it. We get a close victory in the auto-resolve, which sounds pretty good to me. It's an open field battle, so not a minor settlement or siege, which is very nice. It's a fairly tough army, though. They got some Graveguard in there, got a little bit of cavalry, got some Crypt Horrors, but still going to go for the auto-resolve, get a nice clean victory, no losses of life for my army, or losses of units, rather. But nice. This is good progress, taking out the main settlement of goddamn Hellman Ghorst. Let's see what he does now. Turns out he's furious at me. He's coming back now with both of his full stack armies, looking like they're heading towards the Haunted Forest, so I might be in a little bit of trouble here. Gonna launch a little plague on this faction. I've been doing occasional plagues here and there for various things. Never really seemed to make that much of a difference to anything, though, it feels like. At least these early game ones. But on the next turn, the two Ghorst armies decide to attack one of my settlements instead. No hope of winning this one, so gotta just accept my fate, but that's fine. They're not cornering me into Haunted Forest, so that's good for my main army at least. I'm going to move out of the Haunted Forest on the next turn. A little bit worried that both armies will descend on me somehow, but I'm fairly confident I'm out of range for them to be able to get me twice at least. Like if I were to retreat the first time. And it looks like I do get very lucky again as one of the Hellman Ghorst armies goes and sits right in front of me all by itself, unless the other one's hiding there in ambush, but I'm going to take that chance because, you know, why wouldn't I? This army's pretty beaten up as well. So once again, I get pretty lucky that this Hellman army has just come and sat right in front of me by itself. That happened earlier with Hellman and with the Ogres as well, so we've had a few lucky breaks despite all the stuff that's against you in this campaign. Hellman is going to run away, we're going to pursue him, and I'm going to fight this battle because I want to kill the bastard my goddamn self, and to be honest, just make sure he dies at least for a few turns. Because, you know, he can turn zombies into something horrible. We're going to get him in this one, so he's out of the game for a little bit. That's going to help us out just to try and finish him off with any luck. And with that army destroyed, we should be now free to just try and take out that last army. We just need a bit of replenishment after that battle. But it occurs to me that he's still got the settlement in the east, and if I go and take out his army now, he'll probably just raise another one there. So I've got to get rid of that, because he'll build an army very quickly. He'll have a full stack in like 2 or 3 turns, and this will just go on forever. So I go ahead, take this settlement, occupy it for myself, decisive victory. I'm going to fight it just to minimize the casualties. So we've now got rid of any place that Hellman could spawn an army over on this eastern side. We just got to get rid of him in the center, in my old settlements. One of his armies has come back over here, though, over the river, perhaps. Maybe it's going to go after the Haunted Forest, but I'm not far away. To be honest, if it does, I can have it cornered there and take it out when it's beaten up. That would actually be good for me. But it seemingly disappears nowhere near the Haunted Forest unless it's ambushing somewhere. I then find it, though, over in Scrap Towers. And this could be it. This could be my moment. If I can take out this big army here, all I've got to do is take Scrap Towers back, which we'll do in the process, and then go down south, take that other settlement they took, and voila, no more Hellman. But in the next turn, that army moves off, leaving Scrap Towers easy for the taking, so that's good in a way. But they have moved off towards one of my other settlements at Flayed Rock in the west, so I've still got to chase them down, which is a little bit annoying. They still might take another settlement off me, but at this point, it's looking pretty good. I could come down and take this settlement back instead of going after the army, but if I do that, again, they'll probably just raise an army there when this one dies, so best to just come and try and take out the army, I think. He's probably going to attack Flayed Rock. We'll see what happens. Indeed, he does go after Flayed Rock, but very foolishly, he only sacks it instead of actually occupying it, and well, you know how this one's gonna go. It pretty much seals his doom as he's now got a slightly beaten up army, and I'm about to come for him. I'm gonna kill that army, then I'm gonna go back and take my last settlement back. He tries to run away, but old Nurgle says, no, 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 sir, this is the end for you. It's not even Hellman Ghorst himself, he's still dead probably. Down he goes though. The final Hellman Ghorst army is defeated. For now, hopefully another one won't spring up before I get back over here. But I'm now going to rush myself back over this way as quickly as I can. There's one little army there, it's nothing though. Just to come and take this settlement and then we're done. But what does old Hellman do on the next turn just to try and save himself? Why, of course, he begs me for peace just as he knows his destruction's coming. I, of course, laugh in his face, call him a silly bitch, and prepare to absolutely end him. And that is indeed his fate, as he's not able to muster much of an army to defend. After that, he's there himself as I auto-resolve into the victory, occupying the final settlement that was once mine. Now, Hellman Ghorst is destroyed. Bye-bye, caravan of the frickin' roses. Lovely. Only took me goddamn 50 turns. I think I got quite unlucky here, though, with Greasus coming after me as well. I'm not sure if that would normally happen every time you play this campaign, but with me, it did, and it certainly made life a lot harder. So, yeah, fair to say, this is a very difficult campaign. You've got a very tough enemy to deal with. It takes this long just to deal with the first starting legendary lord that you come across. It's also that the early game Nurgle army isn't very good, and that's going to be particularly difficult, especially for a newer player who doesn't know the factions and the game so well. You've got to try to learn those units if you can't auto-resolve. But yeah, overall, a pretty horrible campaign, one that's definitely in need of some love, and honestly, I think you just need to move him from the islands. It really makes no sense for him to be on islands as Nurgle. Put him up in Skull Road. I actually tried a playthrough of this where I came down this river, and that leads you to a sea lane, which leads you up towards kind of the top end of this area near Norska, and that brings you to the Skull Road province, which is occupied by Clan Ferric, who are just a little crappy Skaven faction. Pretty easy to deal with. The only issue I had up here is that Kolek happened to be knocking around trying to get Clan Ferric as well, but eventually I got rid of him and I took this whole kind of province and area, and yeah, it was a nice little start position, to be honest. Much more fun than fighting goddamn Hellman Ghorst for 50 turns anyway, but there we go. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.